mindfulness breath for me before I begin. Buju, Ogima Wabishka, Nakwatakwe. Indigo, Anjijak, Indudem, Gawa Binigani Kod, Ojibwe, Anishinaabe Ekwe, Wabin Inda, Miigwech, Kichimani Du. So welcome everyone, welcome all of my relatives to be here with me today at this beautiful conference in this beautiful sacred place, the Sidawan citizens of Potawatomi Nation. I'm really honored to be here with you. And so my spirit name is Lead White Cloud Woman, and I am from the Crane clan of the Ojibwe people in northwest Minnesota on our reservation, which is called White Earth, Gawa Biniganikag. And it's named White Earth because about 6 inches below our black topsoil, all you will find is white clay. And that is the origin of the name of our reservation. And I am from the Crane clan of the Ojibwe people. And my role, and part of our role as Crane people, are to be intertribal chieftains. And that means my role would be from moving my information and knowledge from my tribe, going to another place, sharing my knowledge, picking up wisdom from where I am, and bringing it back to my tribe. And I really feel that in this role, I am utilizing what my clan membership has asked me to be. And I'm really honored to be here. I was out this morning praying, and you know, one thing I forgot is some water. They're getting with them. Oh, perfect, wonderful. I was out this morning praying and just kind of being aware of this beautiful space that I'm in. And I went over here to the east, would be northeast, and there's this little creek that runs over here by some older oak trees that are over here. And I went over there this morning to say my prayers and offer my gratitude for being here. And I'm just observing there, and I'm sitting and I'm showing gratitude. And all of a sudden I notice in this little creek below is a couple of turtles. And I thought, oh, how beautiful. They are reminding me that we are all on Turtle Island doing good work for all of the people in this space. And in this conference, and as you work towards repatriation, rematriation, and bringing our ancestors, they were a visual reminder for me. And so, as one of the elders said a little earlier, I acknowledge that I stand here by myself, but I didn't get here by myself, right? I acknowledge that my ancestors, 7 generations before me, asked me to be here. I didn't know I was going to be here before 3 weeks ago, but my ancestors and my plan was that with Creator that I would show up here in this space to be with you. And so I share the wisdom that I've learned from my community about who I am and how I need to walk in this way, and walk in a good way, because when I do that, I have a direct impact on 7 generations of the next people that come after me. And so I'm here to talk with you a little bit about my work in the Center of Mind-Body Medicine, and who I am as a person. And so you'll learn a little bit about me through this presentation. So honored to be here. Beautiful. All right, so we think about, and trauma has come up in this last panel already once, and intergenerational trauma and what we carry and how we carry it. And within our body, just want to back up a little bit. So part of what I do in my work is also I'm a facilitator for mind-body medicine, both in the White Earth area, Gawabini, Ganakog, and the Red Lake Nations. And so what I did in that community was offer a group to the rural community that I live in, And I offered this group while being trained through the Center of Mind Body Medicine. My tribe was gracious enough to put me through the entire training. And my way of giving back to the community was, one, to write my doctoral dissertation on mind body medicine and the impact it has on people, but also be able to practice these small groups in my community. And so it's my way of giving back to the things that have been giving me, right? We're always thinking about this reciprocal relationship between people and things and spirit and earth and how we do that. And so learning a little bit about the Center of Mind Body Medicine and what it offers is, first I will say that I am not trained in science or math. They are my least two favorite subjects in school, have always been. Hence, I'm a healer, right? And I feel like my healing comes through connection and relationship. And what I've learned through the Center of Mind Body Medicine is some science behind what trauma is and how it's stored in our body and how it impacts us physiologically. And so part of our nervous system within that is the autonomic nervous system. And that is comprised of the things that we do automatically, that we don't have to think about, the way our heart beats, the way we breathe, those things that we all do unknowingly. And our autonomic, we used to think that we had no control over this autonomic nervous system, that it just did it. And what we've learned through the years is that we do have control of this. And our ancestors practiced this control over this system generations ago by the traditional teachings, by the traditional caretaking that we did. And so in the way that we riced, or the way that we harvested, or the way that we did our quill work or our bead work, all of those were mindfulness practices that help to regulate this autonomic nervous system. Now, science is saying that there are two parts to this autonomic nervous system. There is the sympathetic and the parasympathetic system. And so the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems are necessary in order for us to function and have homeostasis in our body. And so the sympathetic nervous system is like the gas on a car, right? It engages our fight and flight response, and that's necessary when we need it to keep us safe. And then our parasympathetic is much more like a brake on a car. It slows us down. It allows us to engage in mindful practices that keep us centered, keep us grounded to Mother Earth, the things that we need to do to stay healthy and well. And both of these are necessary in order for us to function in the world. And so we think about, I think about a story that relates to this for me, exactly. So I want to say 10 years ago, I was driving down the road. It was around this time of year. So in northern Minnesota, it's hunting season, it's deer season right now. And I'm driving down the road in my car. And this was a particular active season for our animals, for our spirits, our four-leggeds. And they were moving around, you know, anxious about what is in their environment, their hypersensitivity. Their sympathetic nervous system is on high, right, during this time. So I'm driving down the road. I'm trying to get to my destination home from work one day. And I noticed this four-legged, this deer. There it is, standing in my headlights. So it's giving me the deer in the headlights, and I'm giving it the deer in the headlights. Like, oh no, this is a mutual exchange of both of us being on hyper alert, right? And so I'm thinking, what is it going to do? What's this four-legged going to do? How am I going to react to it? I'm activated, you know, my body is in fight, flight mode is what I'm thinking. How do I get out of here? And I'm wondering, are you going to run? Are you going to come towards me? Are you going to stay in the ditch? What are you going to do? What's going to happen here? And so it stares, it stops, it stands completely still. Its way of keeping itself safe, right? And it lets me pass. All right, no damage to the car, don't have to engage gap insurance, none of those kinds of things, right? So anyway, I get home, I walk into my home, and I sit down, put my things down, I sit down in my chair, and meanwhile, my sympathetic nervous system is still going. Oh, I just about ate a deer. I'm start telling my kids, my family, I was so close. It reminds me of a year ago when I totaled out the entire front of my car. I can't believe this happened to me again. I just got this repaired. I'm sitting at home in this heightened state of anxious distress while I'm safe in my chair. But my body and my mind is acting as if I'm not. Meanwhile, the four-legged watches me go past. I'm imagining this is what the four-legged smart spirit does. Watches me go past, runs back into the woods, assesses the safety, looks up, looks around, maybe shakes it off a little bit, is aware of its environment again, and put its head back down and continues to graze. So the four-legged has the ability to reset, quickly reset, move back into homeostasis, and be well and be in the environment. Us two-leggeds, me in particular that day, sit there in this hyper state of arousal that causes me, eventually, if I don't come out of it, to be very sick. And we hold, what happens is as humans, we hold this hyper state of arousal when it's not necessary. And what it ends up doing, it ends up causing a lot of damage to us as two-leggeds. We develop heart disease, high blood pressure, cancer, diabetes, all of these things that we hold because we are in this world of constant hyperarousal. And so when the center came to my reservation, but was brought by some Dakota elders, it was a 4-hour workshop that was mandated by the tribal governing body at that time said, all of the tribal leaders of every program is going to go to this. And I thought, okay, great. Well, I'm going to go and check this out. I went there, and what I found in those 4 hours was something that I didn't realize that I know I had. It was a gift that I was not giving myself. And so I made a commitment on that day to continue to do this mind-body medicine work and learn more about it and integrate it in who I am. And so I'm not going to say that even before I got up here, I was in a little bit of a fight-flight, because that's normal, right? Like, do I want to do this? Do I not want to do this? So I came up, I took a couple deep breaths, I used my medicines, what I needed to do to bring me back down to be here with you and to share this with you. And so we recognize that this system is part of who we are, this autonomic nervous system, and it controls how we function every single day. And we need it. And we need our gas and we need our brake. But if we run our gas on our car wide open all the time, what happens to our motor? Blows up, generally, right? If we hit the brakes too hard, too often, too fast, we burn out our brakes, our rotors, much more damage needs to happen. So we're trying to move to this place of equilibrium where we use these two systems as we need to. So when we are in hyper arousal, when our sympathetic nervous system is on high drive, we recognize that we have decreased ability to make good decisions, right? We're thinking from this part of our brain, which is our amygdala, making fight, flight, or freeze responses. And when we calm down and relax, we make decisions up here from our brain, from our executive function, which is our good thinking. And that's where we need to be. So there's a couple images up here that I wanted to share with you. The first is my grandson, my second grandson, in his Dikanagan, his cradle board. And this cradle board is the first one that's been in our family for 4 generations. So I'm thinking that around boarding school or prior to boarding school, probably somebody found it and thought it was pretty cool, which means you all are doing the work that needs to be brought back to our family. But we have this one now that is in our family, and my entire family was part of creating this. And I will say the most difficult part for me was bending the cradle top board of that bar, at that board. So it's kind of an eight, it's like a outside 8 shape that holds it, frames it. And to do that, you need to heat wood, and you need to make a jig, and you need to bend, you need to get it warm enough in water to be able to bend it and make it solid. And so this is the first time I've done it. First time I've been asked my husband to do it with me. And that took a lot of time and patience and wondering, because I didn't know what I was doing. He didn't know what he was doing. He's 100% Norwegian man, following this Ojibwe around, trying to figure out what she's doing most of the time, right? But I'm really grateful for him because he stayed with me. And we are able to bend this basswood, heat it in water, and bend in a traditional way and bend it for this board. And so I have an aunt who has the beautiful skill of being able to quilt and make the banner around the middle. And then my mother, who crochets, made the sack, the moss bag sack that would traditionally be used. And so through this whole process of making this board, I kept praying for my first grandson, who was born into physical world, came to physical world, stayed with us for 2 weeks, and then journeyed to spirit world. And I am so grateful for this board because it brought me the healing that I needed to do in a mindful way, through simple breath work, through simple meditation, through the learning of patience, to not put any negative energy into this board, that I was able to create this with my mom and my sisters and my husband and my family. And so it just has a beautiful meaning to me. And again, you will see in this other image, my grandson, who is in physical world with me. And this was taken this last year in June at our annual treaty celebration. And his first time on the sacred powwow grounds out there. And I watched him when we got to the powwow. He had been there the year prior, but he wasn't walking yet, so we couldn't come out onto the earth yet. And so I had watched him the year prior, and then when I got there, I was with him, and I noticed him in the stand, and then there's the music played and the drum played. He had this movement, right? He knew this movement. He knew how to move with it. And when I said, Bimose, you want to go with Nokomis? You want to go with Grandma out there and dance the first time? He grabbed my hand and we were gone. And so that is part of me being well. That is part of me knowing how to regulate myself so that I can teach my grandsons, my great-grandsons, the people for generations to continue how to do this. So when I was little, my mom was went to the boarding school. And because of her boarding school experience, she lost many of our traditional ways. And because she was light-skinned, I truly believe it was my mother's light skin that helped her survive this. She was able to continue to have me and my 5 brothers and my sister. And so what I want to do is I want to continue to heal so that my mom, myself, my children, my grandchildren, and hopefully my great-great-great-grandchildren also do this. And so just a couple images, a little bit about me. So what we know about epigenetics, and epigenetics is some Indigenous people call that blood memory, which is things that we innately know. So we may not be consciously aware of them, but when we see something, we're like, oh yeah, I know what that is. I know how to manage that. I know what that experience is. That's because we have this energy stored in our molecular cells of who we are. And we just need, all of us who are Indigenous, just need to be reminded of these practices because they're all there. But sometimes, through history, for whatever reason, we lose them. And we can bring them back. And so we know that epigenetics, they move, we start in our first and our second hill of life, our babies and our adolescents, but it also moves into adulthood and then grandparents and elders. And we know that epigenetics occurs intergenerationally. That's how we know intergenerationally, what our people were doing 7 generations ago. That's how we know it, because it's in part of our DNA and who we are. And so when the boarding school relocation happened, there was this maternal and paternal separation. And what that caused, it put us into fight, flight, or freeze mode and created a lot of anxiousness and a lot of depressiveness symptoms in who we are as people. And so we see that in our communities today, lots of anxiety, lots of post-traumatic stress disorder, lots of depression. And the Center of Mind-Body Medicine has designed a toolkit based on mostly Indigenous teachings to be able to practice and learn for ourselves how we heal ourselves from this intergenerational trauma. And it's been a beautiful transformation of me, for me. And so we want to begin to use these practices as soon as we possibly can to help our generations as we move forward. And so in the first image here, you will see some of my sacred medicines that I use on a daily basis. So in northern Minnesota, sage, sweetgrass, cedar, tobacco, smudging those medicines, harvesting those medicines, taking care of those medicines. And the box back there is where my community, Dickonagan, the pipe is held. And so using these medicines helps me to be able to heal some of that trauma. And in addition, and then in the other picture, you will see my immediate family that was taken about a month ago. And so my daughter and my 2 daughters and my son and my husband is back there with a veteran's cap on, Vietnam War veteran, and then my soon-to-be son-in-law there with my youngest daughter. And so we were, you know, as we gathered as a family gathering, they're good about sitting and telling about the crazy jokes about their mother, or not so crazy in the moment that I was raising these kids by myself, right? And my older 2 children looked at Maria, my youngest, and they said to her, "You know what, Maria, you're really lucky. You got the medicated and the meditated mom." And I was like, oh, yeah, they probably did. You know, because I know when I was going through domestic violence, when I was leaving a relationship, I was so dysregulated. I was constantly in fight and flight. And I didn't know how to take care of myself. Therefore, I didn't know really how to take care of my children very well until I did some learning, some exploring about who I was, what I needed to do to be healthy and well, and to be here in front of you. And so I just offer this beautiful picture of my family as we are in the moment. So honored and proud of those children. And I always told my kids, I don't care what you do. It doesn't matter what you do. All I want you to do is be good citizens of the world. And they are. And I'm so grateful for that. So this picture. So what we know about epigenetics is that it can be responsible for illness, right? So we know that generationally, diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, oftentimes that is a genetic disease that is passed between generations. And we are aware of that. So we recognize that epigenetic also has the ability to move through generations to cause difficulty, but we are also knowing and learning that we can use this same epigenetic structure to heal, to fight illness, and promote healing within our communities. And so we can use it to create resilience, regeneration, and also embrace this healing power of love, forgiveness, and importance of community. And in this image, you will see an image of my immediate family, which includes some of my in-laws. That takes me mindful practices to be in the same space with them, but I'm there, we're all together. And we're here together at Moose Lake in northern Minnesota. So this is a celebration of my younger brother, who journeyed to the spirit world about 1.5 years ago. And we went back to Moose Lake. Moose Lake was the place that gave my brother life. That is where he found Creator. That is where he found who he was. And that body of water gave him life. And we went back to that body of water to give it gratitude for the life it gave to Paul and the healing power that it also was going to bring to us as we moved forward through our lives. And you will see my elder mom, who's 85 there. She's with the walker. My grandson, who's on the backpack of my son-in-law there. So just being there all together of us. We're missing my sister that day. She was traveling, imagine, and presenting at a conference. So she couldn't be with us. But it is a way of being mindfully with each other and using these practices to be able to tolerate distress, to tolerate trauma. I can guarantee you never in my journey did I think that I would lose my dad, my grandson, and my brother within a year's time. And without these meditative practices that I learned through the Center of Mind Body, I would have went through it, but I wouldn't have been as healthy to go through it. And I don't think that I would have been as healthy to be able to support my family going through it too. So I'm really grateful. So the Center of Mind Body Medicine is a very experiential, experimental program. And as part of the program, you will learn different things about biofeedback, meditation, guided imagery. They use skills of drawing and words and movement. And so as part of our work today, we're going to practice a couple of these skills together. We're going to see if we can integrate some of these skills into your own life and teach you to begin how to use them. And so, this image is an image of myself and a powwow this last year with two of my WENs, these two little boys that I have been able to gift a name to, that Creator gave to me, through me, and to them, knowing that I didn't do any of the work besides organizing a ceremony for it. But these names, these two boys are my WENs. They are my teachers and my guides. Not only do I have a responsibility to teach them, they teach me every single day. And so learning as a grandmother, as a Nokomis, as an auntie, how important it is to have these little people in our lives to help us to be well. And so there are 3 different types of meditation that the center teaches, and they are concentrative, which includes a soft belly, breathing exercises, guided imagery, mindfulness or awareness meditations, and that's where we just become aware of feelings and sensations as they arise and we acknowledge them. And then expressive meditations. And so what we know as Indigenous people, that we used all of these different types of meditations, but we also recognize one of the oldest ones that we probably know about is the expressive meditations. And that comes through our dance, through our shaking and our movement. So the first experiential that we're going to do together, and I say they're an experiment because we don't know what the outcome will be, right? So we don't know if it's going to bring up something difficult. We don't know if it's going to bring up something fun. We don't know if it's going to bring up something calm. We just don't know that. So it's an experiment. And so the first one that I'm going to do with you, and I'm going to ask you to participate with me, is going to be a concentrative meditation, okay? And I know there's some aunties in the group and a little bit of chit-chatter and laughing that goes on here and there. I would ask you aunties just to hold that in this moment while we practice this together. And so what I would like you to do, if you're comfortable in doing so, is just putting all of your utensils down, whether it's a pencil, whether it's a phone, whether it's you're reading, whatever you are doing. And I would just ask you to become comfortable in the space that you are in. All right, as comfortable as you possibly can in your chair. And settle in a little bit. And if you're actually comfortable closing your eyes, you can do that too. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, and we recognize that because of experiences in our lives, some of us can't close our eyes unless we are sleeping. I offer you just an opportunity to take your eyes off of me and gaze down on something softly on the floor in front of you. And just sit for a moment and become aware of your breath. The in-breath and the out-breath. And we're going to use a soft belly meditation because what it does, it combines body awareness with some guided imagery, and it's something that can be accessible to everyone. This soft belly meditation invites you to relax, to let go of thoughts and activities that are preoccupying you, and just enter into this present moment. It invites you to engage a relaxed state. And relaxation, we recognize, is very important. This is what we need to do to engage our parasympathetic nervous system, our break. And the more practice we give soft belly breathing, the better off we will become with it. So again, just keeping your eyes softened or closed and being aware of your breath. And just allow your belly to soften with each breath. Begin to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And I'll recognize that this type of breathing is sometimes uncomfortable, but the more we practice it, the better we get at it. And just allow that belly to soften. If our belly is soft and relaxed, more air goes to the bottom of our lungs, where there's better oxygen exchange. And oxygen that feeds all of the cells in our body and improves the metabolism and the working of cells. I invite you to breathe in the word soft and out the word belly. Breathing in soft and out belly. And when the belly is soft and relaxed, it helps to activate the vagus nerve. And the vagus means wandering in Latin. And this nerve wanders up from our belly, through our chest, to the central nervous system, and to the brain. It quiets the body, slows our heart rate, improves digestion, lowers blood pressure, and helps muscles to relax. It quiets our mind. And this vagus nerve is the antidote to the fight or flight response that we often experience. This nerve allows us to connect with parts of our brain that makes it easier to connect with other people. So when you are breathing slowly and deeply in through your nose and out through your mouth, with your belly soft and relaxed, you are relaxing your body and bringing your body into balance. You are quieting the fight or flight response. You are becoming more aware and focusing better on feeling more compassion for others, as well as making it easier to connect with other people, to feel close and remove stress. Breathing in soft and out belly. And as you begin this practice, I recognize that our mind wanders. It's not used to being still. Just allow those thoughts to come in. Notice them, greet them, and send them on their way, coming back to soft belly. And I'll just be quiet for a moment while we just do some soft belly breathing together. Now I invite you to just take 4 more breaths with me, honoring the directions and the spirits of the 4 directions. One last deep breath in and out. And then just gently, maybe wiggling your fingers and your toes, opening your eyes if your eyes are closed, and coming back to our space. All right. I would like, if anyone is able to or willing to just share what that experience was like for you. Was it difficult? Was it challenging? I'd just like to know what anybody in the room, how they felt. And we'll bring a mic to you and any comments or thoughts that you have to share about it.
Got one in the back here.
There's a couple and one up front here too, as you're walking past to your right.
Okay, we'll start in the back and then we'll work our way forward.
You gotta get your exercise in. I went away. I feel like I've suddenly returned.
Which? So on a journey, a little mental journey that kind of took you somewhere and then landed back in your body. Yeah, which? Thank you. Anyone else want to share? There's one up here.
All right, raise your hands real high. There you go. Thank you.
I just wanted to say that this mindfulness is something I've been trying to practice the past couple of years because of a lot of the sort of disorders that you mentioned that comes with sort of being in a constant state of fight or flight. And sometimes I have a very hard time quieting the mind, but I definitely appreciate the soft belly analogy or sort of practice you gave because I think that helps quite a bit. So that's something I'll start incorporating more in my attempts to be still.
Thank you. Yeah, I recognize that. I was like, they want you to do soft belly for like 3 minutes. I can barely keep myself still for 15 seconds to start, right? And ultimately, they want you to practice mindfulness up to a half hour a day. I'm like, there's no way that this will ever happen. What I've learned though, through practice and use of this very basic skill of soft belly breathing, I can make it work. And I now use every single night. I now use soft belly breathing to allow myself to fall asleep. Because when I can focus on those two words, it quiets the rest of everything else that's been going on around me. And I'm able to fall asleep. Occasionally a Tylenol PM helps too, but mostly meditation. Right. Anyone else want to share their experience?
I just wanted to acknowledge the woman who talked about her grandchildren. Hope that your message goes to the right ears, and I hope you find the help you need. You're in your homeland, and so when I was breathing, my thoughts were
Miigwech, for sharing that. And that's what that does, right? It also brings us this higher state of connection, the awareness of connection and what we need to be with each other. And live minnow be mataziwin, live a good life and be with each other in a good way. And we can do that through this practice. Miigwech, thank you. All right, so we've been sitting, we've done a concentrated one. Now we're going to do an active meditation. So what I'd like you to do is we're going to move a little bit. We're actually going to do some shaking. So what we know too that is trauma is stored in our bodies, right? It's for me, stuff is stored right here, shows up right here in my neck. And everything that I carry throughout the day lands right here. And wherever it's stored, right? Sometimes it's stored in our lower back. Sometimes it's stored in our knees. Sometimes it's stored in our upper arms, our elbows. Sometimes even in our jaw, in the way we clench our teeth, right? Stress is stored there. And so this meditative practice, again, this moving practice, we believe is the oldest one that's around. And we are going to be doing some shaking together. And after we shake, we're going to just pause for 2 minutes. So we're going to shake for about 5 or 6 minutes. We're going to pause for 2 minutes. And then we're going to allow ourselves to just move. And it used to be dancing, but I recognize that the word dance is like, I can't dance, right? So I don't want you to dance. I want you to just move. And a way to be able to do this, to be fully present with ourselves as we do that, is if you're comfortable, I would ask you to, and if you can, rise from your chair and maybe move to the perimeter of the room if you're able to. If you are not able to, just know that you can shake and move in the space that you are in. Even if you don't stand, you can still shake and move, okay? And so if you want to close your eyes, you can do that. If you need to hold on to the back of your chair in order to give yourself some space to do that, you're welcome to do that. Just let it be very permissive, whatever you need to do. And I just invite you to do this. All right, and so we have some traditional powwow music that we're going to use for about 5 or 6 minutes. And I'm just going to demonstrate what shaking actually looks like to you. That you have inside of you that need to let go to, let them go too, right? This is a place for us to be. So what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to have you turn to the wall. So we're not interested in what anyone else is doing. We're only interested in what we're doing, right? And this is how we're going to do it. So I want you to just like let go. So we have some powwow music that we're going to cue up. And we're just going to shake for a while. Move your arms, move your legs, move those shoulders. Move. Down. Let it go. And when you feel like stopping, keep going. I know you're not all that shy. Keep going. Pay attention to those ankles. Shake those ankles out. Yeah. Take about 1 more minute to this moving. Oh, we're still. So 1 more minute. Give it all you got this last minute. Pretend like I didn't say anything and just keep moving. Right? Karate chop. Do a couple karate chops. Right. Now, I just want you to be still. Just notice what you notice. Be still. Breathe. And just notice. And now we'll have some music that you can just move to, however you need to. Again, you might want to do this facing the wall.
I was up this morning. My lips are right and breathe. And it is pure and true.
I think there was more movement in the bar last night.
morning. With the rising sun. Breathing first. I don't get. It's sweet song. A melody pure and true. Yeah, yeah. Glory,
Right, Team Miigwech, many thank yous. Come and sit back down. Come and sit back down. Let's talk about. Let's have a few people share what they experienced in that. Please, if you will, be courageous. So. What did you notice? What did you notice in the shaking piece? What did you notice in the being still piece? What did you know when you were able to move in your own way?
All right.
Hello again. As y'all know, I've been through a lot of trauma and stresses with my grandkids. On top of that, I know exactly what you're going through because I've been a cop for 12 years. I've been in I've even had to patrol without a gun back in the 90s. Before we could carry, you had to be certified. So I patrolled 9 counties of Oklahoma with no weapon. I had to use municipal, I had to use state, I had to use county officers. And also, then I became a state officer, so I know tribal law and state law. I worked 2 years in the paralegal's office and I was a year as a CPS worker. So I know when I went to court and was fighting my own grandkids' situation, it was just me, one voice at the time. And so throughout all these years and everything that I went through, and also I will also put this out there. So as a cop, I had 31 years experience of domestic violence. My shield helped me fight on the streets, but it didn't protect me behind closed doors. My mouth was silent. This past year, I'm opening up. This is my healing from all the traumas and everything I've been through in my life, from my grandkids to domestic violence to oppression from my parents. It's affected me and the assimilation that the government wants us to have. And in doing in my healing, I've learned my body. I've had to learn down to the simplest form that your nervous system and your head and the breathing and our body is crossed. And then in your heart, that's when they say, cross your heart. You know, the red and the blue, it crosses right here and it goes down to your feet and it comes back up. So how you live your lives, it affects your organs. You know, it deteriorates how it goes down to your oxygen in your blood level and everything your body produces. It's an input and an output. Everything you breathe in, everything that we are all connected. I have learned. And so what you're saying, how we live our lives and everything, and I have been doing exactly what you're teaching. And that's also what's brought me here today. I've had 17 surgeries, not to mention all the other health things that I've gone through. And my doctor said that I would never be able to, I would be on pain pills forever. Last year, I went from 3 pain pills to 9 pain pills. I quit overnight. I had no withdrawals or nothing. And so I haven't been on another pain pill since. And
She
so,
which, that's powerful, right? That in
Yes, ma'am.
itself, right? So thank
so
you.
your healing is,
Ah,
it is very on point.
right on. Right on. Anyone else want to share what their experience was in moving and shaking and moving?
Got one in the back over here.
Okay,
Just hop on up, everyone, if you wanna, if you wanna share.
My name is Mumule. My English name is Green. I would just like to thank you for that offering first. And that what I found was that I met people in the shyness at first, in the group as a community. And I think that in being Indigenous people, that's where we connect. And again, with the traumas, you know, a layer of trauma, that shared experience. And so, you know, moving on command was difficult because it's familiar. It's familiar to be given a command and to do it. And so then having to go deeper, meeting my relatives and seeing them dance, being in places where we have danced on lands, and knowing that this land needs healing and needs dance. And so in that space, I was able to find my individualness representing the people and move. And then it seemed that it was necessary to be responsible to that and to move from the people. So I hope.
oh, which. Yeah, being able to just heal this own space we are in right now, right? Bring us healing. Anyone else want to share?
All right, we got one over here.
What Husky Quest, J Squeeze to Husky. I'm gonna move to the back of the room so I don't have people to my back. My name is Karen Condon. I'm the vice chair for the Confederate Tribes of the Caldwell Reservation in Washington State. Good morning, everybody. I apologize for being late. You know, thank you, Dr. Riegert, for your presentation and your kind words. I'm a boarding school survivor. I find it hard to sit in a group and participate in activities like this. I gotta be moving. But the my healing process has been quite different. And I will continue to heal until I die. And so, you know, that people don't talk about the impact of the trauma since contact. And so it's important for people to remember that that contact had a devastating impact to all Native people, whether you're talking about North America or Central or South America. And so I just wanted to mention that. The other thing I wanted to state is that, you know, there's other correlations between missing and murdered Indigenous women and all of these other issues that we've dealt with since the time of contact. And so, you know, there are a number of traumas that have come together to make who we are, that impact who we are as Native people. And so I just wanted to put that out there. So if you see me up and moving, it's not because I'm being disrespectful, it's because I don't want to sit still, and I deal with it in a different way. So I just wanted to explain that in case anybody was wondering, why is she moving around? And it's because I need to, I can't just sit. So thank you. And I'm glad to see everybody participating. I just do it in a different way. Thank you. Lynn.
TV Witch, thank you. So yeah, just recognizing that our lunch is here. So I know that you all have paper and pencil in your packet. So if you didn't share out loud, but there's stuff that you're holding that you feel like you want to get out in Zoom too, world, right? Let some of that stuff go. Journal some of that as a way to kind of express. It's interesting when we go back and read our journals from years ago, what that brings up for us and how we recognize how beautiful and resilient we are to be in this space. So our next, the Center of Mind Body Medicine has its next professional training program. It's on Zoom, it's online, February 29th through March 2nd, 4th and 5th. And if you are interested in that, cmbm.org. is the place to go and check that all out. There's all kinds of wonderful resources on that site. For the movement that we did today, for the soft belly that we did today, for you to be able to practice and learn more. And I just invite you to continue on your healing journey in whatever way you decide is for you. Because the work that you are doing here, the things that you are thinking about, the people that you are serving and continue to serve for generations, will be greatly impacted by your health and your well-being. And we'll do a little other exercise if you come in a part of the talking circle this afternoon or evening with me. But I just want to say, Chi Miigwech, I'm very honored to be in this place and be with you. Aho.